Welcome back, everybody. It's your buddy Orange Hat here to bring you another weekly recap. So, I see in the chat we got Geek Detective Pierce and we got Vanya Kostyuk. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got some insanity here for you, folks, and maybe an actual bonus round, considering that story has come out that the pregnant Ray freaks are back. Now, if there is any validity to this story, I will immediately say, hey, I was wrong. But I will get into that later. So, hello to Vanya. Good to see you. Also, me and Mara have a special announcement on Thursday night, or possibly even Wednesday night, where we will be announcing a special stream for this month because it's Nick Cage New Year's. We will be doing a special singles, so stay tuned for that. It will be announced most likely this Wednesday night as me and Mara discuss National Treasure. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that. That'll be on her channel, Jade Shadow, at 8 p.m. Eastern. Also, tomorrow I will be on my buddy Junebug's channel, where I will be getting an interview from him. I will also be on Master Swag King's channel tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Tuesday is going to be the Tuesday theme stream where it's Armageddon versus Deep Impact, two very similar movies that came out literally just under 2 months apart. So that's going to be an interesting one to discuss which one is better out of the two, especially considering how close they were in their release. Tuesday night, I will be on Odin's channel in his chat for his Tuesday stream. And after that, I will be on the Barroom podcast at 9 p.m. on Jake's channel, Society Reviews. Wednesday is the ones and twos with Mara. Thursday is Con Air with Mara on my channel. And Friday, depending on what's going on, I might be doing Orange Hat Uncensored. I do not know if I will be doing that, so I will get back to you. So without further ado, let's delve into some of this insanity. So as many of you know, there have been, or What If got its second season on Disney Plus. And so before I get into that, let me fix the banner here. And it seems that one of the producers actually said something about escapism. So let's get into this, shall we? Let me add this to the page. And yeah, let's get into it. So Marvel's What If producer says season 2 avoided ending universes because audiences needed a break from 2020 real-world events like COVID, BLM, protests. You mean those BLM riots? Let's be clear here, folks. Cities burned under the BLM riots. And a U.S. presidential election. So let's get into this. This is from Bounding into Comics. Spencer Bakuli is the author. Shout out to you, Spence. According to a producer, A.C. Bradley, the second season of Marvel's What If intentionally shied away from destroying any of its featured universes because at the time of its production in 2020, the series crew felt audiences needed a spark of optimism amidst such real-world events as COVID, BLM riots, and a U.S. presidential election. So As seen in recently concluded season, in every instance which could have potentially ended in absolute doom for a given universe, in true Marvel fashion, each of their respective protectors, or in this case of Earth 1602, the Strange Supreme's world, a universe hopping Captain Carter, who the studio can't seem to try to make a thing, managed to find a way to stave off their absolute obliteration. In the face of an attack by a celestial powered, adolescent aged Peter Quill, the Avengers of 1988 managed to convince him not only to join their cause, but also fight back against his father's plans for universal conquest. So apparently, yeah, this is getting all weird. Though she was intentionally cast out of Asgard and stripped of her power source providing crown by Odin due to her violent tendencies after studying martial arts in Ta Lo, Hela eventually teams up with Wenwu to take down her father, but upon her ascension to the throne, rather than set out on a campaign of wanton death and destruction, the Asgardian royal instead takes it upon herself to lead the Ten Rings organization in a campaign to ensure freedom across all existence. Hela, the god of death. What? Like, seriously, what? In 1602, despite the Watchers' insistence that the New World inspired universe was doomed for destruction, and thanks to her refusal to accept this outcome, Captain Carter manages to successfully identify and send back a time-displaced Captain America, his presence the ultimate cause of the aforementioned incursion. So now they're blaming Captain America for a universe-ending situation, an incursion. Oh my God, really? And finally, upon Strange Supreme's defeat by Captain Carter, right? You're telling me that she defeated Strange Supreme, that dark one that had all that freaking power. Bullshit. I'm sorry, but I'm saying that's bullshit. And original MCU character Kaori within his sanctum infinitum, rather than his world being left to non-existence by the stopping of his plans, the once good doctor instead sacrifices himself to bring it, or more specifically, his former love interest, Christine, back to life. Oh. So, I get that it's not about escapism. It's about just fucking around. Characters look good with seriously bad writing. Conversely, in the series' first season, not only did this tale of a zombie-infested MCU end with a tease of a near impossible fight between Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Black Panther, and an undead 4 Infinity Stone wielding Thanos, but its final boss, Infinity Ultron, which doesn't make sense and breaks the actual rules of the Marvel multiverse, was also successful in wiping out everything in his own home dimension save for the actual universe itself. Yeah, it just doesn't work, folks. It just doesn't work, you see. When Infinity Stones leave their home universe, they go inert. So in the first season, when Ultron got all of the Infinity Stones and tried going after the Watcher, the second he left his universe, he would have gone catatonic because he was outside of the universe's power source of the Infinity Stones, essentially ending his own universe because he left with the Infinity Stones. That's going by Marvel logic, and also by the Marvel's cardinal rule that Infinity Stones only work in their home universe. And it took so many people so long to freaking acknowledge that. Oh, it's good stuff. It's good. It's entertaining. It breaks the biggest rule of the freaking Marvel universe. That's why I didn't even watch any of this dribble. But anyway, though only having 2 more confirmed kills than its successor in the first season of What If was made all the more impactful, especially in terms of the watcher's pain towards his inability to act, thanks to the fact that any given episode could end with such a definitive universal collapse. However, rather than season 2's elevated survivability rate being a happy accident of parallel screenwriting, it appears that it was intentional choice made by the series production crew. Speaking to the topic via December 30th, thread posted to her personal Twitter account, the aforementioned Bradley explained, since it's been asked wondering why the world doesn't end in What If S2, we penned What If S2 between January and October 2020 amidst the onset of COVID, BLM riots, and the U.S. presidential election, when it felt like our world was on the brink. Oh, dear God, shut up. What If became our sanctuary, a retreat where heroes rise against the darkness. So you're saying that escapism is good? It's good to get away from the real world. Oh my God, folks. Booyah. They just friggin' did it. They just friggin' admitted it. Well, at least this person did. I hope that this person doesn't get fired for saying this. A retreat where heroes rise against the darkness. And most unexpected ones shine the brightest. Nebula, Hela, a young woman wanting to see a cool lake. What? And, or added the Miss Marvel series writer, sometimes it's just more fun to save the world. All 9 episodes of What If Season 2 are now available to stream via Disney+. So apparently this person thinks that that escapism is preferable during all this depressing times that we are in. So yeah, when escapism is convenient for them, they say it's good to use. But when escapism, but when the message needs to be pushed, sexualizing kids, saying that anybody who has a dick is evil by default because they're dicks, and anything else, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it. And that's when escapism is not right. So you have to watch the episode. She accessed to several of the hero's powers and weapons. Well, okay, that's good to see you, by the way, Road to Wisdom, Danny, good to see you. So, yes, What If? It is still part of the multiverse, dude. It is still part of the multiverse, and therefore it is bound by the rules of the Marvel multiverse. And the cardinal rule of the multiverse, no Infinity Stones work outside of their dimension. That's the one thing that Loki actually got right, the Loki series. That's why, and a lot of people just wrote that off when I was pointing it out all along. They're like, yeah, but Loki sucks. Yeah, something can still not be done well, but still be or do one thing right. Now, that's what other people say. I mean, me, personally, I thought Loki was okay, season 1. I haven't seen season 2 yet. I'll have to check it out. And how did do, Darth Zathra? Good to see you. But honestly, I would appreciate it if there was a level of consistency in the MCU. That's why I stopped watching the MCU, dude. Because I got sick of all the nonsense that they were all pushing. But hey, at least in Marvel's What If, they actually used escapism to, but they were using it on themselves, and unfortunately had bad writing in the process. You know, if they're going to go with the multiverse and incursion arcs in their current phase, which is the incursion arcs, I know how the incursion arcs ended. All the universes were destroyed, bar one, and Doctor Doom saved everyone. So yeah, it just doesn't work, you know. But yeah, honestly, hey, if they're going to use escapism, they should use escapism for everyone, not just the writers. Just saying. Not the one she had to watch, or she had the watcher helping her as well. And that's cool too. But again, my point stands. You have the Infinity Stones in your universe. You can't use them in any other universe. I'm sorry. That's just how the people at Marvel, before all of this insanity started going on, that is what they all established. They don't work outside their own universes. Hence why the Tesseract stopped working when Loki left his universe into that pocket dimension outside of the his universe in season 1 of Loki. So let's get into the second story, which is Percy Jackson and the Olympians creator Rick Riordan says original books did not explore Medusa's character because title hero lacked the bandwidth for deconstructing the patriarchy. Dear Lord, let's bring this up here, folks, for you all to see. So, yeah, he's like, we don't have an agenda, folks. We don't have an agenda. So now, are you saying that in this series that you got going on Disney Plus that we're going to have a man-hating Medusa simply because they're men? Well, I mean, yes, I understand that is how Medusa has always been. But honestly, we already know that she hates men due to the fact that a god cursed her and her sisters. But let's get into it, shall we? Another one from Bounding into Comics, Jessica Parker Kennedy. So, in this latest attempt to justify the changing of his own source material in its jump to the small screen, series creator Rick Riordan says the reason why his original Percy Jackson and the Olympians books lacked the proper exploration of Medusa's character compared to the series' current Disney Plus adaptation is that Percy himself was unaware of how to go about deconstructing the patriarchy. I'm sorry, folks, but I don't think Percy Jackson gave a shit. Medusa has always been known to be evil because she was hurting people. She was killing people. And therefore, she needed to die in the Greek myth. As seen in Riordan's initial telling of the take of Greek mythology, the snake-haired Gorgon is introduced as a deceptive Middle Eastern shopkeeper who in modern times uses the lure of taking a victim's photograph to expose them to her stone-turning gaze. Eventually encountered by Percy after he, Annabeth, and Grover stumbled into her store in search for food, Medusa initially feigns kindness to the trio, and they discover that, in a twisted expression of love for her former beau, Poseidon, she wishes to add the group's leader to her collection. However, thanks to Percy Jackson's quick thinking and the steel of his riptide blade, their encounter ultimately ends with her severed head resting upon the floor, her plans ultimately left unfulfilled. So, but in the Disney Plus series, things play out a little differently. So, yeah. Therein, as seen in the series' third episode, we visit the Garden Gnome Emporium, and the Gorgon makes her debut when she appears to offer the lead trio refuge from the ongoing pursuit of Hades' Furies. Yeah. The Furies were not solely bound to Hades. They were in fact capable of dispensing justice on the gods themselves. Even the gods feared the Furies. Yeah. Anyway, reluctantly accepting her assistance, the trio then proceeded to enjoy a brief lunch with their new host, during which she is able to pick up on Annabeth's palpable anger towards her, a result of both her dedicated allegiance and love for her own mother, Athena. Seeking to explain her side of the story, Medusa responds to the tension by recalling the group's Athena was everything to me. I worshipped her. I prayed to her, made offerings. She never answered, not even an omen to suggest she appreciated my love. Well, it just seems that maybe the gods were a little bit busy back then, you know? I was like you, sweetheart. She then specifically addresses Annabeth and her love for Athena. I was you. I would have worshipped her that way for a lifetime, in silence, but then one day another god came and he broke that silence. Gesturing towards Percy, Medusa then asserts, your father, the sea god, told me that he loved me. I felt as though he saw me in a way I never felt seen before, but Athena declared that I had embarrassed her and I needed to be punished, not him, me. She decided that I never would be seen again by anyone who would live to tell the tale. Amidst constant protestations to her mother's innocence from Annabeth, Medusa then concludes the gods want you to believe that they are infallible, but they only want what all bullies want. They want us to blame ourselves for their own shortcomings. However, from there, her story plays out largely the same as it does in the books, with her meeting her ultimate fate courtesy of head severing granted by Percy's Riptide. As to why this particular change was made to Medusa's character, the series cast and crew would later elaborate on their reasoning during a post-episode premiere interview given to Variety's I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. According to Riordan's wife, Rebecca, who also serves as executive producer on the Disney Plus series, the only reason Medusa is not more fleshed out in the books was because it was Percy's narrative and we don't have her perspective. Well, yeah, Percy is the main character, you see, and there's a reason that you really shouldn't have any sort of sympathy for the evil, especially one like Medusa, who is a murderous, psychopathic bitch. Jumping off his wife's assertion, Riordan himself further claimed, as a 12-year-old boy in 2005, I don't think that he had the bandwidth for deconstructing the patriarchy. He was looking at it as, this is a scary woman who's trying to turn me into stone. Well, yeah, because that was literally the case, Rick. I love your books. I love the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I really do. I actually read them all. I actually like them very much too. I could literally watch them in my head. And yeah. You're kind of killing it now for me. To this end, Rebecca noted, it was one of the first things we talked about, how not to have a patriarchal lens. Fuck you. What the hell is patriarchal about a fucking teenage child? Nothing. He's never learned any of that bias. Oh, dear God, you people are retards. Retard alert, folks. Retard alert. And it was as though this anti-patriarchal lens, or through this anti-patriarchal lens, per the Disney Plus series co-creator and co-showrunner John Steinberg explained, the team decided to deviate from the original chain of events in order to touch upon the contemporary argument that in the original myth, Medusa was not a willing lover to Poseidon, but rather a victim of sexual assault at his oceanic hands. Yeah, that was done in the or in Clash of the Titans too. I do believe there was less sexual assault and more just a sense of infidelity bestowed upon her by Athena due to Athena not or feeling jealous that Medusa started seeing or looking upon a different god because she felt abandoned by her goddess. Seriously, if you know what she's talking about, you know what she's talking about. If you're too young to be in that conversation, it won't bother you. You're just in a scene about this woman who seems complicated, and everyone's got an opinion about what went down. There's no version that is the version. If Athena and Poseidon were in that room, you'd get 3 different versions of that story. Echoing the showrunner's partner's rhetoric, Riordan then asserted, there are many versions of the ancient times of what happened in the temple of Medusa and Poseidon and Athena. Who's to blame? Who's the abuser? What's the real story? It's fiction. But it is important to acknowledge that there's abuse involved here, abuse of power. One of those interesting changes that inform the way she looks is that in Medusa's point of view, the real curse wasn't making her ugly, it was making her invisible. Well, that seems like a sin of vanity. She has chosen in this version to own that, to be seen, to be elegant. She turns people into stone and uses that as art. She has been physically changed, Rebecca added. She has accepted herself the way she is and the power that she has, but she's also been traumatized. And honestly, in service to the real Medusa story, actress Jessica Parker Kennedy then revealed to the person for that thingy, John wrote a story of Medusa thinking that Poseidon was someone she could trust, and he broke that trust. She was feeling safe, and then the situation turned unsafe. And as such, I chose to play that she was a victim of rape and total abandonment, not understanding why Athena would turn on her. Jesus Christ. Really? Fuck this show, man. I was actually thinking about giving it a watch, but it's this sort of shit that makes it unwatchable. They really got to work on their marketing, because if they worked on their marketing, they would have a much better reaction to their shows. Stop putting this stupid shit in their marketing, you know? Anyway. But anyway, folks, sorry, I had to mute for a second. So, do they have current ones? You don't know. Yep. So, yeah. I have a moderator in the chat. Where's my moderator? They haven't said anything. But, yeah. Let's get back to this story. Sorry, I had to change thingies for a second. Kennedy also explained that the performance was inspired by artist Luciano Garbati's 2008 statue Medusa with the head of Perseus, a piece which inverts the image seen in Benvenuto Cellini's 1545 Perseus with the head of Medusa in recent years was used as an icon for Me Too movement. Oh yeah, nothing says Me Too like an evil being slaying a man who was a hero to the people and trying to save a nation. Yeah, not the best imagery, you see. Perseus, I know that story. Yeah. Perseus was trying to save a nation and needed the head of Medusa, who was evil, and therefore took her head to freeze the Cetus before it could kill the princess Andromeda. But sure, go with evil winning and killing a hero. as your icon for your movement, which also has now proved to be very evil in itself. Yeah. Oh my God. As it seems, the actress was not only crew member to take inspiration from that statue, as Riordan made it a point to highlight how another thing we did was to show everybody on the show the statue of Medusa holding Perseus's head. Fuck you, Rick Riordan. Fuck you. The inverted story, as he felt it's a powerful piece of art to start a conversation about who's telling the story. Dude, fuck you. Rick Riordan, you are a fucking piece of shit. Folks, that's all I'm going to I don't need to cover that drivel anymore. I mean, I've seen all I need to see about that particular fucking article. Oh my God, man. The fact that Rick Riordan put that in there is disgusting. He actually allowed that inversion to be put in a show for kids. For kids. I mean, seriously, what is wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you? If I recall the books, Medusa wanted to turn Annabeth to stone and dash the statue to pieces. Yes, that is part of the books. She wanted revenge on Annabeth due to her being the daughter of Athena. But the fact that you literally used the statue of Medusa holding Perseus's head in the show, I'm sorry, but dude, that is seriously twisted. If you know the significance of that to its highest degree, you know that is ultimately saying evil should win against good. Evil should slay the good of our world. What the hell is wrong with you, Rick? Damn. So moving on to our next story, Rey Movie Director proves how ignorant she is about Star Wars. So yeah, let's pull this up again. As many of you know, this Shireen Obaid Chinoy is been chosen to direct a Star Wars film featuring Rey, the character that nobody likes because, well, honestly, her character was so poorly written. Not the fact that she's female, but because her character was poorly written. Despite what Disney wants you to believe, that is the reason why a lot of people didn't like the Disney trilogy. It was not done well. Now, if you like it, that's fine. I don't care. You can like it. I'm not going to say you can't. But I am going to call out the legitimate facts of its reason why it is objectively not a good show or not a good trilogy. So, moving on, let's get into this woman who is seriously fucked in the head because another thing that unfortunately, this article didn't put in, Spencer, I wish you would have paid attention to that. But then again, it probably didn't come out until after he was done the article, so I can understand that. But anyway, yeah, this woman also says, I like making men uncomfortable, or it's time that we make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable. So that if that doesn't scream agenda to you, what does? So let's get into this. Upcoming Rey film director says it's about time we had a woman come forward to shape the story of Star Wars. Now, I hate to tell you, Miss, what's your name again? Charmeen or Shareem or whatever the fuck your name is. Obaid Chinoy. That ceiling was broken in 1976. Now, you all are going to say Star Wars came out in 1977. However, it was edited in 1976. And Marcia Lucas, George Lucas's wife, shattered that ceiling. So, yeah, let's get into this. Another one from Bounding. I usually use their articles because their articles are, well, they are comprehensive. So, yeah. Hold on one second, folks. There seems to be a problem in my peripheral vision. There we go. That's the problem. Ugh. I'm back. So, yeah. Let's get into this ignorance, shall we? In a declaration that could seemingly only come from someone who has spent the last decade completely detached from the once beloved sci-fi franchise, director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy has opined that one particularly exciting aspect for her upcoming Rey Solo film is that it will finally allow a woman to guide Star Wars narrative direction. Buckle up, folks. This is going to be one hell of a ride. Obaid-Chinoy, whose directorial filmography primarily consists of documentaries that nobody has seen, by the way, highlighting the social plights faced by women in her home country of Pakistan, offered this insight into her forthcoming Dance with the Force while speaking on CNN's Christy Lou Stout for the network's 2023 New Year's Eve broadcast, touted by Stout as the first woman and first person of color to direct a Star Wars film. The director, who appeared via pre-recorded interview with the anchor, opened their discussion by elaborating on her personal excitement towards her forthcoming Lucasfilm outing. I'm very thrilled about the project because what we are about to create is something very special. And we're in 2024 now, and I think it's about time that we had a woman come forward and to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away. Well, unfortunately, that was already done. Marcia Lucas, 1976. Yeah, you're 40, almost 50 years. You are 48 years too late, bitch. Like literally 48 years too late. As noted above, the 2-episode Miss Marvel director comments off as an absolutely baffling giving the very real attention that overall Star Wars fans or Star Wars franchise has given the female perspective ever since its 2012 purchase by the House of Mouse. Following the completion of the sale, Disney proceeded to promote film producer Kathleen Kennedy to president of Lucasfilm, at which time she proceeded to position the aforementioned Rey as the overpowered, poorly written protagonist of the film or the franchise's third and unfortunately canon trilogy. Additionally, during her tenure as president, Kennedy has also overseen the production of such Star Wars television series as The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, each of which made heavy-handed, even forceful attempts at boosting the franchise's profiles of their respective female leads, often at the expense of their male counterpart characters, some of which were the actual titular characters. Mind you, Mandalorian was a guy. The Mandalorian was a male character, that Din Djarin thing that they did. Obi-Wan Kenobi, well, we all know Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Reva got the lead, and Ewan McGregor was cut in his own television show. Yeah. Can you believe that shit, folks? Can you believe that for 1 second? Yeah. Proves that some people don't see the entire story regarding Star Wars, as you just mentioned with George Lucas's wife. Exactly. For example, since her introduction to The Mandalorian, Bo-Katan managed to upstage Din Djarin at nearly every turn of their adventures, with even the climax to the latter's ongoing feud with Moff Gideon being brought to a close by his female ally. And Obi-Wan Kenobi, despite her being far more inexperienced in combat, force manipulation, and even their fellow Inquisitorious members, as evidenced by her absolute handling by the Grand Inquisitor Reva, is still shown to be able to briefly go toe-to-toe with Darth Vader himself, even managing to disarm the Dark Lord of his lightsaber before her eventual defeat. Yeah. There was a fun parody video that they did, folks, where Reva was lifted up by Darth Vader at the Inquisitorious fortress, and when she started to talk, he just twisted his hand and snapped her neck because he didn't want to hear her failure anymore. I wish that was the actual thing they did in the show, but, you know, unfortunately they didn't, because that would have been seen as racist. Anyway, then there's the fact that Ahsoka centered around the cast of primarily female heroines, which, while not an objective negative in and of itself, is notable due to how it pokes a hole in Obed Chinoy's statement. Further countering the director's narrative is the reality that not only have numerous women served in various behind-the-scenes roles across the franchise, such as the New Hope editor Marsha Lucas, Obi-Wan Kenobi director Deborah Chow, Mandalorian director Bryce Dallas Howard, Ahsoka directors Jennifer Getzinger and Geeta Vasant Patel, and Rebels co-creator Carrie Beck, but that its next entry, The Acolyte, will be helmed, written, and star a team of primarily women. Yeah, notably, this is not the first time Obed Chinoy has positioned her upcoming Star Wars outing as the franchise's breaking the glass ceiling moment, which she's stepping on glass so finely broken that it doesn't even make a sound anymore. Speaking to Vice News following the film's announcement in May 2023, the director explained that her role as the first woman to direct a Star Wars feature, bullshit, I've always kicked open doors that were previously closed, and I think my feeling is that there is a critical mass of women who have begun to move forward in places that were previously closed to them. Yeah, but you didn't do shit to help that woman. You didn't do shit to do it. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. And the truth hurts people, doesn't it? Sorry. As of writing, Rey's return to the silver screen is currently set for some time in 2026. So, yeah, don't care about that. But the fact of the matter is, folks, is that she is saying that she likes to make men, or not in this article, but in many other articles since this one's making, is that she likes to make men feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Upon saying that, I would have said, we have reconsidered our choices, and you are not going to be directing this movie. In fact, we are going to be hiring a man to do so. Somebody who is more competent and is not seeking to divide the fans even further. It is because of Disney's stupidity that the fans got so divided that they are literally still fighting a civil war of Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans can't agree with each other because of how stupid Disney acted in regards, and how stupid Kathleen Kennedy, who still hasn't been fired, by the way, Doomcock, WDW Pro, and all those other fucking morons who keep on saying, but Kathleen Kennedy's going to be fired. Over years, mind you. Yeah, she still hasn't been fired. So, when is she going to be fired? You guys seem to have the lowdown in the freaking Lucasfilm with your inside sources and all that shit. You only save yourselves because you say, take it with a grain of salt because it's a rumor. And yet you still fucking swindle your goddamn viewers by saying, oh, it's going to happen any day now. Fuck you all. Yes, I fucking called out names. But yeah, this woman doesn't know shit about Star Wars. She honestly has no clue what she's talking about. She's talking about shattering a glass ceiling that has been shattered for 48 years. 48 years. Marcia Lucas shattered that ceiling by shaping the galaxy far, far away in its infancy. She is the editor. She shapes how it will be the final product that went to the masses, and the masses loved it. George Lucas did a wonderful job directing. She did a brilliant job and a wonderful job as well with editing. So yes, this woman is absolutely full of shit. And honestly, I think that she should be ashamed of herself for spewing very known lies. So yeah, I wish I could be one of those people that talk to these fuckers at Disney. I wish I could be one to actually talk with them and say, look, you made these statements, and I'm sorry, but I don't actually see any accuracy here. You see, Marcia Lucas edited Star Wars in 1976 before the movie came out. How can you say that you were the first woman shaping the galaxy far, far away when it was shaped in its infancy by a woman? I mean, don't you think that Marcia Lucas deserves credit for that? The director simply is saying, do this, do this, do this, action, cut, print, check the gate, moving on. The writers, the producers are more important than the director, folks. I mean, seriously, what is this woman smoking in her? No, I'm not going to go there. But moving on to the next one, let's get this done because holy shit, man. I think it's by the way, no, we're going to stick on this. The Rey pregnant thing is coming out again, folks. I have not seen any fucking proof to the contrary or any fucking proof that shows that Rey's going to be pregnant in Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's movie. The only people who are saying that is probably Anna, that Star Wars girl, Doomcock, WDW Pro, and if they are not saying it, then I'll frickin' admit that I was wrong. But until then, I am going to call them out for fucking pushing that false bullshit narrative when the movie wasn't even in production. It wasn't even in pre-production, and they were pushing that bullshit narrative saying that it was actually happening. I'm sorry, but that's clickbait, and these people who claim to be these bigger fucking channels who actually have a responsibility, a greater responsibility than somebody with less than 1,500 subs to actually give you the right information. Rumor mongering and clickbaiting is such a pathetic practice. And those who do it are only on this platform for a check, for the fucking money. And they are pathetic. I do this to keep people informed, and I want them to be informed by the most accurate information that is available. If it turns out to be not true, I've literally done freaking retraction videos on my channel. I have that to back up my claims. Integrity means a lot to me. And if you lose integrity by reporting on bullshit for clicks, I'm sorry, I have no respect for you at all. So yeah, moving on to our final story here. Dave Chappelle has triggered the trans stands. And yeah, let's get into it here. Sharing this tab instead. Cut that one out. And it seems that Dave Chappelle has done a new show, a new special, folks. And it was on Netflix, his new Netflix special. And he's been accused of attacking the transgender community. So, yeah, let's get into it. From Bounding Again, Shout out to Josh Berger in this one. Dave Chappelle is no stranger to controversy. I mean, obviously, they've been trying to cancel this man for years. Fabricated around his stand-up comedy routines, especially those that end up managing to trigger some easily offended woke activists who constantly accuse the comedian of punching down by specifically mocking the transgender community. The Dreamer, the comedian's latest special for Netflix, has successfully drawn the ire of transgender activists who have made use of their mainstream media platforms to predictably denounce Chappelle for targeting the transgender, disabled individuals. Well, anybody who is transgender is by definition mentally disabled because they believe that they are something they are not. And no matter how much they butcher themselves, they will never be what they want. Genetically, they are born, they're the gender that they are born as. No amount of surgery is ever going to change that unless you can eventually change a person's genetic structure after they've been born and formed in the womb. So yeah, good luck with that. So anyway, yeah. When my father died, I was inconsolable, prefaced the comedian in the early minutes of his new comedy special. I thought I'd never smile or laugh again, and the only thing that got me out of that space was comedian friend of mine, the late, great Norm Macdonald. He further recounted, and what Norm did that I'll never forget is he knew that I was the biggest Jim Carrey fan in the world. Now, I'm not going to go into it, but Jim Carrey is talented in a way that you can't practice or rehearse. What a God-given talent. I was fascinated with him. And yes, I agree. Jim Carrey is indeed very talented. I don't agree with his politics, but I do enjoy Jim Carrey movies. So continuing on, and Norm knew that. He called me up and he goes, Dave, I'm doing a movie with Jim Carrey. Do you want to meet him? And I said, fuck yes, I do. It was the first time I could remember since my father died being excited. The movie is called Man on the Moon. And Chappelle went on, in this movie, Jim Carrey was playing another comedian I admired, the late, great Andy Kaufman. And Jim Carrey was so immersed in that role that from the moment he woke up to the moment he went to bed at night, he would live his life as Andy Kaufman. When they said, cut, I'm not going to say that, was still Andy Kaufman. The comedian added, explaining, so much so that everybody on crew called him Andy. I didn't know any of that. I just went there to meet him, and he walked into the room where we're supposed to meet, and I screamed, Jim Carrey, and everybody said, no, call him Andy. It's like, what the fuck? Chappelle recalled, and I didn't understand. And then he came over and I was acting weird. I didn't know he was acting like Andy Kaufman. He was just like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, hello, Andy. Now, in hindsight, how fucking lucky am I that I got to see one of the greatest artists of my time immersed into one of his most challenging processes ever. Very lucky to have seen that. He lamented, but it was happening. As it was happening, I was very disappointed, explaining because I wanted to meet Jim Carrey and I had to pretend this was Andy Kaufman all afternoon. It was clearly Jim Carrey. I could look at him and I could see he was Jim Carrey. Anyway, I say all that to say that's how trans people make me feel. Chappelle hit the crowd with the punchline, and he had been building up as the audience erupts with laughter, adding a cheeky, here we go. Well, Chappelle would then make fun of the backlash he got after releasing The Closer, his previous special that triggered the LGBTQIA Sigma Chi Theta plus community, declaring, I'm not fucking with those people anymore. It wasn't worth the trouble. I ain't saying shit about trans people. maybe 3 or 4 times tonight, but that's it. He further joked, tired of talking about him. And you want to know why I'm tired of talking about them? Because these people acted like I needed them to be funny. Well, that's ridiculous. Chappelle further mocked, I don't need you. I got a whole new angle. You guys will never see this shit coming. I ain't doing trans jokes no more. Know what I'm going to do tonight? Tonight, I'm doing all handicap jokes. I would have fucking laughed at that, and I'm fucking mentally handicapped, folks. They're not as organized as the gays. He continued, and before he said, and I love punching down, making allusion to the fact, or to the exact same accusation made by woke advocacy organization GLAAD in reaction to Chappelle's Sticks and Stones special from 2019. Enter triggered woke media outlets, wasting no time taking offense to Chappelle's The Dreamer, accusing the prolific community as attacking the transgender community and labeling his new comedy special as anti-trans, repeatedly quoting his obvious sarcastic, I love punching down remark. Dave Chappelle attacks trans people in new special, I love punching down. Reads the alarmist headline of the article by San Francisco Chronicle's Aiden Vaziri, who was seemingly offended by all the comedian's recently released special. Variety's William Earl goes as far as to suggest that Chappelle has an obsession with the transgender community. In his article, Dave Chappelle's obsession with mocking trans people continues in new Netflix special, I love yada, yada, yada. Maybe it's time for Dave Chappelle to try some new material, prefaced Earl, later adding that the comedian floods the first 12 minutes of the set revisiting his favorite target in recent years, transgender people. Dave Chappelle's new Netflix special proved he's learned nothing. What's there to learn? That you guys can't, or actually he has learned something. You guys can't take a joke. Yeah, I read the headline. Sean McCarthy, a far left Daily Beast, noting Chappelle tells the audience trans people make him feel like he's going along with them pretending as if they method act like Jim Carrey's as Andy Kaufman. He ultimately concluded, comedians may claim that they can't joke about anything anymore, but they joke about more now than ever before. The real problem with stand-up today is that too many comedians would rather kick people when they're down than lecture us on how we're too sensitive for not laughing about it. Well, you are fucking too sensitive for not laughing about it. It's a fucking joke. Lighten up, you fucking wine ass. Jeez. Chappelle targets trans community, yada yada. For Deadline, who failed to mention that the comedian's show did not make neither transgender nor disabled individuals the focus of a special. After receiving harsh criticism for his remarks about the transgender and yada yada community in his previous Netflix special, the closer Dave Chappelle again took a jab at trans people and targeted the disabled community in his latest special, The Dreamer. And so on and so forth. Folks, it's truly sad that people can't really fucking take a joke. You can make fun of freaking ADHD people and I would have no fucking problem with it. You can make fun of autistic people. I would have no fucking problem with it. You can fucking call mentally handicapped people retards and I wouldn't have a problem with it. You want to know why? Because mentally handicapped people are retarded. They are held back and hindered. That is the definition of retard. Something that is, or a person who is held back or hindered. So, yeah, they are retarded. That is the definition, folks. Despite what people want to put on the internet, Google and shit, you're simply saying that you can't say those words because words hurt people. Words are dangerous. Words are causing harm. Maybe if they had spines, they wouldn't be hurt. Because, yeah, I'm sorry, folks. I don't give a flying fuck what people say. I will use the language that I know. I will use the words that I know of their original definitions. And if that offends people, so be it. This is my channel. I don't give a fuck. So yeah, words like faggot, to them it means a derogatory slur towards homosexual men. When in actual reality, the word originally meant a bundle of sticks wrapped in twine or rope. FAG, well, they think it is a short term or a shorthand of the previous word, when in actuality it is a British term for a cigarette. You know those fanny packs that were a thing back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s or whatever? You want to know what they called them? Blank bags. And the word rhymes with bag. Yeah, they called it a fag bag. Because when you are over there, you go by their language. You go by their vernacular. And the thing is, guess what? It made its way over here. And well, that kind of sounds derogatory. So we're going to take this and we're going to mean you evil people who like, or men who like to do other men. I'm sorry, I don't go along with that. I mean, the N-word with the hard R, all that literally means is an ignorant person originally. I could be that. And many other people who are white could be that. But nope, it was turned into a racial slur. And now only black people can call other black people that. And if you believe in anything else, you are a white supremacist, apparently. I'm sorry that my educational level is higher than most of these, well, retarded people. I'm sorry that my intellect outperforms theirs. Actually, you know what? I'm not sorry. Because a person shouldn't be sorry for who they are. I am not bigoted. I am not racist. I am not homophobic. I don't fear any of these people. What do I have to fear them for? Xenophobic, homophobic. Phobic means fearing of or fearful of. I'm not a phobe. Far from it. If anything, I pity a lot of them. But I also know many of them too. I know a lot of people who are part of the LGBTQ community. Some who are trans. And they're not insulted one bit by Dave Chappelle. They actually laughed very hard at his stuff. I have friends and family even who are in the LGBT community. Lesbian, gay, and bi. I don't have any family that is trans. So, yeah, most of my family actually believe in that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and you can't change no matter how much you think or feel. And a lot of us do not accept the delusion of non-binaryism, because non-binaryism is, well, it's a delusion. I'm sorry if that upsets people. Well, no, I'm not sorry, really. It's just that you are deluding yourself and you're not accepting the facts that have been around for thousands and thousands of years. That nature in its very self, which we are a part of, is binary. And people really do need, or these non-binary people who refuse or who also denounce their humanity by identifying as animals. Like that Twitch guy who said that I'm a lesbian deer. I identify as a lesbian deer. Well, okay, if we legally have to, I'm going to show you, I'm not saying that I would do this. I am simply going to show you how I can destroy that argument. If this person is under law able to be called or to be referred to as a deer and able to be treated as or has to be respected as a deer, an animal in the forest, venison, then it should be legal to kill that person or to kill that deer. I'm sorry, I misgender or I misspecified them. It should be legal during bow season and deer season to hunt that animal down and to kill it. They identify as a hunted prey. Do you now realize how retarded the disconnection and detachment of humanity has become? I mean, seriously, do you? I am not saying that I am going to hunt down that person and kill them. I don't own a gun. I don't hunt. I can hunt. I just choose not to. I have a greater respect for animals. And that's not saying that hunters don't respect animals. They do. That is why they use the animals for food and other stuff. But yeah, I'm sorry. These people honestly need to understand that when you are making these claims that you are not a human, but that you are some other thing, do you not realize that you are mentally handicapped because you believe you are this thing? You believe it so much that you are unable to handle the reality of the situation that you are a human, and therefore you must be treated as such. This identity bullshit of identity politics is one of the greatest evils that is disintegrating our society. A society that believes in facts, a society that goes by true science, that nature is binary, male and female, and with the genetic mutation of what is both, however, yet can never be neither. There is the hermaphrodism, where there is both male and female in one body. However, that is the one thing that has no contradiction of being, or no opposite. You can either be male, female, or if you have the genetic mutation, you are both. However, you can never be neither, or any, or not any of them. Non-binaryism is a mental disorder that instead of enabling these people, they really should seek mental help by people who will not enable them, but people who will explain to them that it just is not reality to believe that way. To believe that way is to denounce your own humanity. And that is something that is very important here, folks. Transgender people apparently are so uncomfortable in their bodies because they were not able to accept what they are, what God has made them. Because we are made in the image of God. We are made in the image of something that is greater than us, yet made us the way we are. To try to change that is to be against the very nature that you were given. And that scares me. That is what scares me. That people have become so deluded and that society has become so retarded, held back and hindered by all these people who demand that their delusional behavior be enabled and accepted. When what we used to do was help them through caring for, or through humane caring methods such as medication. I guarantee you, you freaking put any of these people who believe that they are something that they are not, chances are you will find a genetic defect in their brain chemistry. And if a person who does those tests says there was no genetic defect, they are liars. I'm sorry, folks. This is getting heavy. Yes, it is. But it is heavy because it is important. This modernity is not modernity, or which Geek Detective Pierce is saying here. It's not modernity. This isn't modernism. This is regressivism. They are regressing to a time in which there was little information, and they want people to have little information because they want people to be stupid and retarded, held back and hindered by ignorance. That way they can tell them that a person can identify with whatever they are as whatever they want to, and you have to accept that. Otherwise, you are in the wrong. I am not in the wrong because I refuse to deny reality. The reality is these people who do not identify as either man or woman and instead identify as something completely non-existent in nature, I'm sorry, I pity them. And I think that they need psychological help so that they can identify and accept that they were made a certain way and that there is a reason why they were made that way. Anyway, folks, that is going to be it. I've gone on for over an hour. Make sure that you all smash that like button. Thank you so much to Geek Detective Pierce, Darth Zathra, The Road to Wisdom, Price is Right Review. Good to see you. And Vanya, you all are freaking awesome, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow. I will try to send out the link to where this thing is. But yeah, it's going to be, I believe, 2 p.m. Let me check the time on my email again. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard on Junebug's channel. I will try to find it and I will share it on YouTube. Or I'll share it on X and Facebook if I'm able to find the link. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think of all of what I have discussed tonight? Let me know, because this is the stuff that is important that we need to talk about, because it shapes our society just as much as real world politics does. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. See you all tomorrow, and I'll try to get some content out for you. And then I'll see you all on Tuesday. Anyway, this has been Orange Chat. Take care and stay humble.